I have pretty terrible news for everybody with a functioning brain and a bare minimum moral compass. John Bolton not done resetting Trump National Security Team. Unreal. So he fired 4 people so far. And here's what the staff says, quote, "They fear he could load up the council with hardliners," you don't say, "and undermine its role as an honest broker in the interagency process used to make national security decisions." So in other words, they're saying John Bolton is going to pack the government with neocons, and they're going to try to do neocon shit. So in other words, exactly like they've already done. John Bolton's been in there for like a week, and we've already bombed the Syrian government. Trump was already bombing 8 countries, and he just stepped it up and did a direct escalation in Syria now. So this is a guy, mind you, who also wants war with North Korea. This is a guy who also wants war with Iran, perhaps more than any other place. He's never met a war he doesn't like. He's the neocon's neocon. So this is fucking terrifying. If you told me, hey, Kyle, craft a murderer's row of the last people you'd want in government right now, John Bolton and whatever national security team he would pick, national security, how Orwellian is that shit, calling it that? Whatever team he would pick would be literally the last group of people in the country I would want to be in that position. I would rather go to a Denny's, go into the back and take all the workers and say, you guys are going to run our foreign policy. 100% would rather do that. I'd rather go anywhere and get anybody and say, okay, you guys run anybody but John Bolton and the people he would pick. But that's where we are today. Just like with Goldman Sachs throughout his administration, making economic decisions, Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary, you name it. All Wall Street guys, Larry Kudlow, the dumbest economist in America who's been wrong about everything, whispering in Trump's ear about the economy when he doesn't know anything. And now John Bolton on foreign policy. And it's not, see, that's the thing, man, is back in the day, early on in Trump's administration, for all of his flaws, and he has many, the white nationalists, like Bannon, for example, at least that was a non-interventionist voice. Now, I don't want anybody to listen to that guy on immigration. I don't want anybody to listen to him on race issues because he's a demagogue and he's dangerous and he's evil, okay? But at least there was some voice in the room going, hey, maybe not endless war. Now, that whole wing is gone, and he brought in the neocons. So this is George W. Bush 2.0. That's what this is. Trump's presidency now is a continuation of George W. Bush's presidency. We've seen it with the deregulation. We've seen it with the tax cuts for the rich. We've seen it with the endless war and the endless escalation. And he has the nerve to act like he's anything but that. There are no words for how extreme this is. And this isn't treated as extreme. And that's some of most of my ire I try to save for the media and the Democrats. Because as they're screaming about fucking Stormy Daniels in Russia and high turnover in the administration, they're missing the most important arguments. And the most important arguments are, holy shit, we're getting closer and closer to World War III because of the actions taken by this government. And now you have the worst person in the worst position to exacerbate all of these problems. I would never in a million years shut up about John Bolton being in power. This is a guy who should be in prison right now. These are war criminals. Whether you're talking about George W. Bush or Dick Cheney or Paul Wolfowitz, that entire crew, Bill Kristol, all of them belong in prison. They started a war based on false pretenses. They lied to the country repeatedly. They're responsible. Blood is on their hands from the deaths of minimum 200,000 civilians. And now you got this fucking loathsome cretin who's right back in power. And he's got an empty vessel of a president to control. That's Donald Trump.